eu vou convidar ao palco David Lee, o diretor executivo da Shenzhen Open Innovation Lab.
Even though it's 33 hours flight, but it's amazing to have the opportunity to come and talk about the development of AI in China. So my name is David Lee. I'm from the Shenzhen Open Innovation Lab. We study the open ecosystem in China, not just in AI, but in the Internet of Things, in the development of the Chinese industry. It's kind of the that is the right now a lot of communication about our technology development has been going through the Western media, which has a very selective view on how things should work, how things should develop. In China, on the ground, we are seeing a lot of different ways for internet to be used, for AI to be used, for all the tools to be used. In terms of the AI, I think people starting to notice the Chinese AI when the Deepseek happened earlier this year. But before that, AI is a thing which has always been a fantasy of the technologists. I have a degree in computer science. I got it in the 90s. Every 10 years, there's an AI boom. Every 10 years, they are going to tell us, well, we will get to AGI in 10 years. And for me, that's probably, 30 years ago. So been seeing this again and again. But the important things to look at is after every boom, what's left, what's been really created. It's hard to, so I think people in this room has been watching the tech sector, the internet sector for a long time. If you remember, 10 years ago, there's a big boom on the deep learning. Everybody talks about deep learning. Everybody talks about vision system. Jeff Hinton was running around telling, well, in 5 years, we don't need any radiology anymore. But then nothing. And then it go quiet. It will be really hard-pressed to ask anyone to name a big AI company came out of last wave. But on the ground in China, the deep learning actually took root because the comprehensive ecosystem, because the way AI gets applied to the society and to the industry. Industry are looking for deployment of AI. Industry are looking for what can I do with the new tool. It's not just a fantasy about, oh, this deep learning is going to deliver artificial general intelligence, and everybody is going to out of job. Every way they tell the story, every way they cannot deliver, and then nothing left. But in China, things take root. The last deep learning is mostly about vision system, about deep learning be able to process huge amount of data. Then with this, we see huge proliferation in China in terms of the smart city management. Cities are putting sensors across the city on the sewage, on the temperature, on the freeway, on the road, on everything. So the city can do proactive maintenance. The city can go around providing the city service. Of course, when you see Western media, it's all about surveillance. It's all about people getting tickets, people getting fined. But beyond that, if you come down to China, our street is quiet. The traffic violation is really low. It's all because of this whole system behind this, supporting it. Getting into the home security. The last wave has a lot about vision, about the use of the facial recognition, object recognition, action recognition. And out of this, we grow a big company called HK Vision. You probably have not heard of this company, but chances are, if you have a home security system, you are using their camera, you are using their AI system. It has a global security camera, something like 70% market share. This is a big company growing out of last wave. And of course, it's on the American sanction list. So all the good companies in China are. And other than the societal application of the last vision of the AI, last vision AI and deep learning, in the urban environment we just mentioned. And it's also getting into everywhere, in the retail, in the factories. Everywhere there's a advantage, there's a benefit to apply the AI to. People find a way. That's another thing we will be mentioning about the Chinese ecosystem. The ecosystem is not driven by a few big companies. In here, you heard about companies like Tencent, Alibaba, all these big companies. But in China, the AI is not driven by them. AI is driven by a lot of local, small, medium enterprise who see an advantage of being able to deliver value to the customer. So we see a lot of this in retail, doing traffic estimation. Right now, if you go to China, you see this big new vending machine. Basically, it's a fridge. You scan the code, you open the fridge, you take the drink out, you close the door, and then, well, the bill sent to your phone. This is using the object recognitions to turn a simple display case for drink, for snack, into an automatic vending machine. We even go as crazy as having a facial recognition toilet paper dispenser in the public toilet. That's the extent of the AI gets applied by large number of small and medium enterprise. Those kind of news, when they hit the big media, it becomes a surveillance story. It becoming just this, well, evil, crazy government wants to keep track on everyone, on everything. But in reality, on the ground, it's innocent. It's just, it makes it more convenient. It makes life easier. And of course, China being the biggest manufacturer and industrial production country, AI really drives into the factories. Last time, the deep learning, be able to process huge amount of sensor data. In the industry, we see huge amount of the sensor gets into the factory floor to do preventive maintenance, to do quality check. If you've been to the factories, you realize a lot of things about factories is not about production. It's about being able to check the quality of the production. Quality control is one of the key factors in the factories. Being able to have an yield rate of 99% and the 99.9% it makes huge difference when you are like Foxconn, making 900 million phones a year. When you are like Vivo, Oppo, who's delivering hundreds of millions of units. And that scale, 99% and 99.9% makes a huge, huge difference. Same goes to every single one of the production. Traditionally, QA was done by people with our eye. But now with the AI vision available, huge amount of QA system is being put into place. And this is not been deployed by large consulting company coming in, charging you insane amount of money and tell you it's going to take 18 months to deploy. This is a small and medium company who comes in ready to go box. They understand your industry. They understand what you need. They are empowered by AI to be able to do this. They go into the factory, 3 months down the line, things goes online. So continually and a lot of this innovation from the last stage, it happened with open source. You look at the last group of the AI model, YOLO, the CNN model. Right now, very few people talk about them, but on the ground in China, it's a business reality. Billions and billions and billions of large industry gets created from the last AI. And that's the kind of thing on the ground which we are still having hard time to get the kind of use case, the kind of application out to have a good communication and understanding. Because otherwise, everything, as soon as there's a Chinese camera attached to it, every news is about surveillance. Every news is about civil liberty violation. But in reality, those are the machines which is checking the quality of the mobile phone you carry in your pocket. It's checking the quality of the souvenir you buy at home. So it's great to have this kind of the direct conversation between China and Brazil. I think it's really good. I'm actually looking forward to learning more about the AI development here. And in the future, be able to have a platform so we can have a more effective communication about how we are applying AI. So with AI going into the manufacture, one thing you probably hear a lot about is how crazy China is deploying the industrial robots. Last year, 60% of the global industrial robot deployment happened in China. This year, probably going to be 70%. The reason for that is still the same. AI driving this. AI is being able to solve some of the problem the traditional robotic cannot solve. And once the industry gets that little bit of improvement, when you have a lot of small companies, they have been able to engage into the automation. They have been able to engage into the improvement of the quality of life for the workers in the factories. But again, a lot of this has been, a lot of the application of robotics in the manufacture has been driven by this fear. A lot of stories have been driven by this fear of robot is going to replace people. But if you look at the case of China, for 10 years, the government, not the central government, a couple of the local government, the Zhejiang government, the Dongguan government, the Guangdong government, they do have a policy paper and guideline says replace human with robots. But in reality is after 10 years of execution, city of Dongguan has quadrupled its deployment of robots. But the number of industrial workers in the city also doubled. The robot doesn't take job. The robot actually help more people to get into manufacturers. So the one thing we try to do from the Shenzhen Open Innovation Lab is to help tell this story about what technology really, how they are really working on the ground, not just this very abstract look. Coming from a computer science background, we've been hearing about AI going to replace something. And after 30 years, I'm still waiting. But every height, AI is about replacing something. But we need to bring that conversation back to empowerment, not replacement. So right now, we are on another bubble cycle with AI, this time the generative AI. So China's step into the generative AI has been pretty early. Well, it's hard to think, it's only 2 years when OpenAI puts ChatGPT 3 online. And it is the first time the general public is starting to having that interaction with the new generation of AI. But it's called ChatGPT 3 for good reason, because there was ChatGPT 2 and ChatGPT 1. And this is happening before in the field of the natural language processing. This is about AI understanding human language. And with the capacity to better understand language, we're starting to see an interesting company in China invest early into this field. Baidu, search engine. JD is, the Chinese version of Amazon. In this company, they handle a lot of customer service requests. The huge amount is driving them to the adoption of the AI because, Chinese internet customer are actually pretty hard to deal with. We're expecting the seller to be available to us in real time, 24/7. If you have any e-commerce shopping experience, you realize e-commerce shopping is not just clicking on this, take it to the shopping cart and check out. It's click on this, send it to the shop owner and ask, can I get some discount? If I buy 3 of this, can I get some discount? How about getting 4? So we're expecting that kind of interactions. And that kind of interaction is costing large e-commerce a lot of money to put in the customer service in place. So naturally, they invest hugely into the AI. Alibaba, of course, and tons of the university. So with this early result, we go back to 2021, before ChatGPT, before OpenAI making everything visible to the public. There was, in the area of the NLP, the natural language processing research, there's a couple of the benchmark. One of them is called Supergroup. It's jointly developed by NYU, Microsoft, and a couple research institutions to measure the capacity of AI language model. And at this time, people are using ChatGPT 1, ChatGPT 2. And interestingly, if we go back to 21, I think 3 out of the top 5 models around the world are from China. And interestingly is who they are. This is the 3 who has in the top 5 spot. Baidu, of course, we expect that. Ping, probably not a tech company people have heard of. So Ping is the largest insurance company in China. It's an insurance company. It's not a tech company. But their model is number 2 for very good reason. What is an insurance company? They review insurance policy. They provide customer service to answer insurance problem. They providing training. They providing all this. Huge amount of paper processing is driving them to invest heavily into the natural language processing. And JD, we just mentioned, customer service. So a lot of technology is developed in China not because of the hype. It's developed in China because companies see real need for their own business. And once that's developed, that's been adopted, the use case spread very fast. And being able to do that, being able to have this kind of AI development coming from a huge emphasis on the education. STEM education is huge in China. Right now, Chinese STEM education produce about 10 million graduates a year. That's about half of the global. That's about half the global STEM graduate. Well, the chart is not very. I was expecting that to be bigger, but this chart is done by a think tank called Marco Polo, tracing right now the top 20% of the AI talent working in the industry and working in academic. They do this by researching the paper they publish, where they come from, where they work. Are they in the top research institute? One thing they found out is very interesting. Top 20% of the global AI talent, half of them got their undergrad degree in China. And so half of them stay in China, half of them goes to the US. And that's actually creating a flow. So if you can see the photo, the red part, the left one is the undergrad, the middle one is a grad degree, and the last one is the where they are working right now. So that's the composition. So these days we have a funny joke in China is the American competition with China in AI is the Chinese living in America competing with the Chinese living in China. That's kind of joke. But reality is the huge amount of emphasis on STEM education give China the powers to push in this AI. And moreover is all these people, they are not just working in the large company. They are spread, they are starting their own company and they are having their own startup. So with this kind of decades of talent accumulation, right now what you are seeing coming out of China is just the tip of iceberg. So of course, everybody wants to talk about Deepseek. Deepseek is an interesting story. So Deepseek happened in February this year. It's just May, but it seems to be a lifetime ago. There's a lot of the story. There's huge amount of funny story about Deepseek, about this to be a secret Chinese government project, about this to be getting huge amount of Chinese state funding. But in reality, Deepseek is a passion project by one person. So that's the Deepseek founder. His name is Liang Wenfeng. He's probably in his late 30s right now. The reason he's doing so before starting Deepseek, he has a hedge fund, $18 billion, managing $18 billion in the stock market. And those who has experience with the quantitative fund in the market. These are people who's doing high-speed trading, who's doing the technology-driven trading. So that's what it is. In his late 20, early 30, he's already managing $18 billion fund. He's billionaire by 35. And the reason he got into Deepseek, he now has the entire hedge fund group of top-notch engineer who's interested in, who has been making huge amount of money. But there's one regret. A lot of them coming from have a PhD. Now they're going to the hedge fund. They have no place to show like, okay, well, here is my contribution to technology. Here's my contribution to the field. Because hedge fund itself is secretive. So he took the chance, give their group an opportunity to say, okay, well, now go do something with the large language model. You can publish, you can share, you can open source everything. So that's what driving Deepseek. Deepseek is not a secret project. Deepseek is just a passion project by very talented group. who wants to get recognition. Because of that, they don't need to make up the same story about scaling low, about you need X amount. If you don't have X amount of GPU, you cannot play. It's all about coming back to look at the real nature of this generation of AI, how it could be trained, what kind of the ingenuity put into it could have a tremendous impact. And Deepseek didn't come out of nowhere in this February. Deepseek has been releasing their model for a whole year before this February. And in China, we don't, but it gets the global attention because, well, it happened to crash the market in the US. But other than Deepseek, there's also a host amount of the open source model, which is coming out of China. The Qin model from Alibaba, the Hunyuan model from Tencent. All this is driving into open source because there's no crazy financial game in China surrounding this large language model. It's been developed, and if it's useful, someone will figure out a use for it. The Deepseek moment is bursting not because of a mysterious force out of China to crash the leading US. It's the leading US model has been blowing a bubble so big. Keep emphasizing, if you don't have $1 billion, this is not your game. Keep emphasizing, nobody should be developing large language model other than US company. Deepseek actually bring that back into the reality. Is if you have a small group of passionate engineers with tens of millions of fundings, not billions, you could get a very good model. And once Deepseek happened, we have a foundation model which is capable, open source, and it's starting to overflow into a lot of field. It's starting to trigger in another wave of open source AI development in China. From the competition, now we get more and more better AI model, because now being open source is by default as an AI model in China. So we see huge, tremendous growth coming out of the Chinese startup ecosystem. They will never make the paper because they are not out there raising huge amount of money. None of them are unicorn. But one thing they have is they are on the ground making money. They are on the ground making real revenue by taking the open source model and starting to building something useful on top of it, rather than building a reputation and trying to get a huge valuation on the market. And so So it's good to, when you look at the open source model out of China, it's not just Deepseek. Deepseek is actually a pretty lousy company to use. They release when they are happy. They release whatever they like. Cannot brand them. It's their passion projects. But there are other open source model which is more responsive, which are more driven toward the need of the developers. Chain model from Alibaba, Hunyuan from Tencent. All this, they are much more responsive to what the users are going to use them for. And here's an interesting thing. How many people remember Sora? The supposed the OpenAI video model is going to change everything. It makes huge news last year, but I don't think anyone has the opportunity to actually use them. Very few. But the Chinese open source just go ahead and continue to having huge amount of the Sorrow, well, they call this a Sorrow copycat, but when the thing you copy is just a concept, and these guys are actually putting their model out there in open source, you can download it, you can use it today. Then it's hard to say who is actually the copycat. So this is from one model. It's about, I think, 16 billion. You can run this at your home machine and render video just like this today. There's a lot of development around this. The news never make it to the news of the spread and news of this never really spread too far because a lot of these companies, they don't go out and try to get a PR firm in Silicon Valley and try to get themselves to the front page of TechCrunch. But they exist. Then we get an entire group entire development group who's around this, developing new type of application. And we'll see this is starting to dig into the internet commercial sector, the social media. A lot of new things are getting created. A lot of these creators have been empowered by the new tool to creating new image, new video, new story, and I didn't put it on, but I don't know how many of you have seen this manufacturer bringing back to the US and someone make a video of American on the assembly line. That was what gets empowered by all this video. The news of this doesn't travel too far, so it's really my hope is by starting to engage more peer-to-peer way, we can starting to have more exchange on what's going on there and how the developer there are using this to changing the landscape in advertising, in internet, in social media, and vice versa. Love to hear the story from Brazil. So after the AI model, I think this year is the year of agents. Agent is the program you put on top of the AI models. You use AI as your program interface to be able to deliver real things other than chatting. Agent does programming. Agent does web serving for you. Agent does all this analysis for you. So after Deepseek, another big Chinese AI company makes the front page. It's this program called Menace. Menace is an agent program. You can go on there and say, okay, well, I want to buy a new microwave, and go do research on what's the top 5 best microwave, and order it for me order the best one for me on Amazon. Menace is an agent who can actually go out, not just give you a text feedback or image feedback, but actually go out to the real world and do something. So Manus has been going into a lot of the attention. You can go on to Manus and tell them like, okay, well, I need to do I'm going to Brazil and I have to do a 1 hour speech on AI in China. So make me a PowerPoint. Yeah, that's the secret. So Agent is opening up a lot of opportunity for new startup to starting to take the power of the language model and do something with it. And of course, in the open fashion, we see coming out of China, Manus is a closed source platform. But within 3 days of the Manus release, there are 6 open source projects show up on GitHub from the Chinese developer, Open Manus, OWL. And right now, the big company in China also get into the game. ByteDance released Dealflow. The ZTE released CoSci. All these are wonderful frameworks. You take a model, you take the agent framework, you wrap it around, now you have a new application. Now the question is what are you going to do with it? Can you find your customer? Who should be your customer? So agent is interesting, and it represents a lot of opportunity. So typically, people now sell agents to compile report, sell agents to prepare your PowerPoint. But in China, the societal anticipation of the acceptance of the AI is so high. The applications spread very wide. I don't know how many of you have seen this global artificial sentiment survey. This is a survey of the sentiment toward public sentiment toward the artificial intelligence. And very interesting is if you look at the top 10 countries, they are pretty much the BRIC countries. Every society has a high hope. It's very optimistic about the AI. China being on top. I think Brazil is probably at the 3rd or 4th. So there's a huge amount of the public they don't worry that much about AI. And funny thing is if you look at the bottom, they are where the Western media reside. So every time you read a place, you read a news story about we should be worried about AI, it's coming from the bottom countries. The society is too worried about AI to actually think positive about what AI can be used for. Every step of trying to deploy AI, you worry about that science fiction consequence. So it left a lot of things on the table which has not been explored. So part of my research work takes me into the interesting area to look at how AI is being used by the public, by small vendors, by the people we were thinking is on the fringe, is on the edge. So, city of EU. Just curious, how many of you have heard of a city called EU in China? Probably not. So, a couple years back, the World Cup in Brazil. Anybody buy souvenir? Probably everyone, right? They all come from this city. If you buy souvenir, if you buy souvenir for the World Cup, you buy souvenir for the Olympic, they all come from this city. It's a small city, probably about 200 kilometers from Shanghai. It does $100 billion of global trade a year. The top trading destination is Africa, at around $22 billion. And the second biggest trading destination is $19 billion with Latin and South America. So it's a city which is impacting your life. You probably don't even know it. And this city is interesting. You go there, it's all small merchant. Most of the trading company in this city is less than 10 people. But they have a huge number of it. They have 300,000 of them. So in this case, AI was rapidly adopted by the city, the merchants, because they have to handle global business. And here's an example.
Faced with the current wave of fast-growing internet developments, merchants in China's Yiwu city are embracing digital technologies like big data and AI. This has made Yiwu's female bosses viral. They become language experts in videos, switching between languages to showcase their businesses. Meet one such boss, Chen Meijun, an operator in Yiwu International Trade City, promoting her business in 4 languages.
I am Chen Meijun, a business operator of EU International Trade Layer. Мы основным образом занимаемся производством и продажей различных игрушек. لدينا الآلاف من المنتجات ونقوم بإضافة عشرات المنتجات الجديدة يومياً. Bienvenidos compradores de todo el mundo a negociar compras.
With AI technology, Chen just needs to record a video in Chinese and upload it to a software to quickly convert it into 36 foreign language versions. During output, the shape of the speaker's mouth adapts accordingly to what is pronounced. The popularization and application of digital technology have not only boosted Yiwu merchants' international reputation, but also changed their business models. Now, Chen's toys are sold in over 100 countries and regions, including the Middle East, South America, and Russia. Chen's story is an example of Yiwu operators embracing the internet and digital technology, focusing on local market traits.
So imagine now if you come down to China, travel to this city, you will see a store of toys. Toys, socks, merchandise, soccer ball, everything. The merchant will be taking their latest good. Right now, the AI is making it so easy. All they have to do is looking into the camera and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Once you recorded that, they have your voice, they have your pictures. And they go on the agent program, which starting by asking Deepseek to write a marketing script. This goes into video generation, virtual avatar language model to generate the final video. So the video you just seen, the merchant speaking 4 languages, is done in this fashion. They are what a lot of companies imagine they could be the future. But a lot of large companies cannot do it. It's been leveraged by the small vendors. And there's a very good reason. For large companies, you worry about the accuracy, you worry about everything on your video. You have such a hierarchy of checking the result. AI can boost your productivity by 100%, by 10 times. You can produce 10 times more video, but you don't have 10 times more people to check it. But if you are a merchant if you are a small merchant like her, you are running a business with 5 people, but you are selling to 100 countries. Accuracy is not exactly the first priority. Get the message out, be able to reach your customer. And in this city, there are 300,000 vendors who's leveraging AI selling to the world. $100 billion global trade this year is going to increase to another 10-15% growth year on year until 2030. So AI has been used by small merchants. The other things we get to see is the AI has been used by the rural farmers in China to sell their produce over the internet. Live streaming e-commerce is very popular for the small village and small farmers in China to be able to reach directly to their consumers on the first and second tier cities. But the barrier of entries to be able to produce good video content has not been easy. We have you used to have a selective farmer who can actually handle their own live streaming, be able to write their script, be able to do all that. But there are only a few. But when the AI come, when the virtual avatar come, right now, everybody can do it. This is the,
大家好，我叫张志春，是江西赣州一个偏远山区的蜂农，我们村子叫雅雅。
So this is a French village. Their main output is orange, but a lot of farmers, they keep bees. They have their beehive. Every family have a dozen to 100 to a couple hundred beehive, which is supplementing their income. They used to have the wholesaler come into the village, buy in huge wholesale price. But right now, through e-commerce, they are selling this directly to cutting out the middleman and selling this directly to customer. The village used to make about $200,000 on their honey. Right now, they are close to $1 million because they are cutting out the middleman. They are adopting this. Now every farmer has a very good presentations, and the same thing. The program allow them to create in their own virtual avatar. The script is going to be written by large language model like Deepseek. The image is going to be generated by AI. So we have a huge uptake on this rural application of AI. And of course, China being the IoT capital this year, everything goes crazy. Every toy, every home appliance, everything is getting hooked on the large language model. Now you can get a therapy session with your microwave. Kid is going to grow up with the talking toy. Well, tell me a story. Tell me I think good for the parents when you are starting to show off stories to tell. So smart home appliance, AI power toy, they are all coming on the market. And all of this is been driven on one side, the back end is the open source language model. On the other side is the base platform is actually also open source. Xiaozhi is one of the very popular embedded platform for making toys and appliances. It provides internet connection. It provides the connection to the microphone, the camera modules. And everybody can take it, build a new toy, show it online, get to sales. So with Deepseek gaining popularity in China, the overflow is not just a few big companies who's trying to teach you how to use the large language model. It's the overflow into every sector of the business. Small merchants, rural farmers, IoT makers. Every business now is connecting to the large language AI models. So with this kind of activity, I think there's also a lot of story about this in the past 5 years, there's also this story constructed around the computation for AI, about semiconductors for AI, which is by itself is not a rational decision because an AI chip is a known object. We already know how it works. It's just committed to making them. The American company make them not because they have the technology, because they have the economy of scale. And it's not that hard, seriously. Making the AI chip, you will realize it's much easier than they make it sound to be. So a lot of companies in China try to make their own AI chip. They are struggling. Cambrian, Huawei, most threat. They just got the biggest boost last year when Biden announced the banning of the NVIDIA to China. Most threat. A company was publicly listed, almost has a 4,000% of sales increase in last year alone. They are making GPU, AI training. Used to be when people can freely buy in NVIDIA, nobody wants the trouble to adopt another system. My program runs on NVIDIA. I don't want to fix it. Let me just buy it. And if it's freely available, nobody cares. Only when they make it a scarcity, only when they make that restricted, it boosted the entire domestic chip productions, AI chips. They got an unprecedented opportunity. It's not restrictions. So now we get huge amount of alternative. I only list 4 of them, and the total number probably right now is around 12. But on top of that, it actually gets easier. So if you, the semiconductor business is a volume business. They are turning sand into chips. That's what their business are. And in between, you can go out and license IP, put together chips. So right now there are about 10, 15 ID design company with the IP to neural processor, tensor processor, data processor, and even customized ASIC for running AI, to run inference, to run training. You have today, if you have $10 million, you can go and make your own chips, make your own AI chips. The problem is not so much about making the chips. The problem is do you have a customer who are willing to try your chips? That's the hard part. And then the second part is are you going to get to a price point which you can outcompete the commodity, which is NVIDIA. So yeah, making chip is also, so a lot of story when they tell from the outside, they will make you believe, yes, your only hope is using NVIDIA. Second, NVIDIA is so hard, nobody can replicate. But when you're really seeing things on the ground, that's not a problem. It's not a problem with technology. It's not a problem with it's not a problem with technology. It's a problem with the customer and economy of scale. And when they purposely thinking about restricting the market, it gives new company an opportunity. So yeah, so with AI, now the latest, the hottest term is the embodied AI. Everybody wants to make robots. And of course, with everything open source, China is starting to have some very interesting open source humanoid company, releasing everything from the robotic design and their robot models. riding a bicycle. So again, now we are at another time of with language model passing by, now I think everybody wants to talk about humanoid. And again, they are going to have a story of, well, if you don't have $1 billion, you cannot play in the humanoid game. With companies like Tesla figures, all valued at tens of billions of dollars. They are making humanoid seems to be a very difficult industry to get into. But in reality, it's open source. Everybody can go to GitHub, download this, 3D print the part, buy a couple motors from China, and here you go. Then the question is really becoming what are you going to use the humanoid for? So in China, we have open innovation ecosystem, which is existing and sole purpose is to democratizing the technology. Once the technology gets democratized, more people can take it and use it, and more people are taking it and using it, and that's why you're starting to see so many things coming out of nowhere from China. Everything from ChatGPT talking toys to new humanoid. It's not because there's some secret formula. It's the system allowing a lot of companies to try. It's open, foundation technology gets open source. The company is starting to moving from, my valuations to deliver customer value. And I think that's very important we have more companies focusing on how is this going to help my customer, rather than how am I going to show VC I'm going to show VC I'm a unicorn. So the same open innovation ecosystem is not just AI. In China, you can see the patterns across many regions. And the government is getting very good at harvesting and cultivating this kind of open innovation ecosystem. They do this by having policy, by building industrial park, to bring in cooperating supply chain for companies to grow. Decade after the experiment, you see this happen with the EV sectors. I heard BYD is hot here, but in China we have 250 EV brands, and it actually started with 800s 10 years ago. It's now down to 250, but it's still thriving, it's still running, solar sector, mobile phone, everything. So I think this is a great opportunity to rethinking about the technology engagement, especially when it comes down to foundational technology like internet, like AI, like robotics. How important it is to have an open foundation, an open source foundation we can all build upon, and encouraging a lot of startups, encouraging a lot of companies. The ecosystem and society should build the environment which allow the startup in all different backgrounds to thrive and grow. With that, thank you very much. It's really honors to be here and hopeful to have a lot of good conversation. And thank you again.